Jordan Spieth didn't think his birdie putt at 18 an hour before the final groups finished would win the RBC Heritage, but he thought that after the leaders behind him parred the par 5 15th, he'd have a chance maybe at a playoff, and that's how it ended up. He dodged bullets down the stretch, those are his words, finally beating Patrick Cantlay in that playoff to win the tournament for a second consecutive Easter. And by the way, next Easter Sunday will be Masters Sunday. Here are some of Jordan Spieth's post-round thoughts.
I needed a lot of things to go right. I needed to birdie the 18th, then needed some help, got some help, dodged a bunch of bullets coming in, and then ended up in a one-on-one playoff where my lie in the bunker, although not great, was certainly better than Patrick's. So, it's a bit of a surprise. I definitely felt like I was putting myself in the position hole to hole this week to win a golf tournament, and I just was having a hard time early in the week adjusting to the speed differences from last week. And then the hole started to look small to me yesterday, and then just came out today and said, I'm not going to leave one putt short. And if they miss, they miss, and just try to be a little bit more aggressive, and made just enough to cap it and win. Statistically, I made a couple putts from off the green that'll go on chipping stats, but so it wasn't quite maybe as bad as when I looked yesterday. I was a bit shocked at where I was at, strokes gained, and that was pretty frustrating. I mean, I knew I wasn't putting well, but it was certainly better than that showed. And just thought, my goal was to get back to positive strokes gained for the week, which meant I had to make up a few today. And early in the round, I certainly did that. Missed a 3-putted on 11, but then made a couple more coming in. So. I was obviously very happy to be in this position. Every year I think about Kapalua at the beginning of the year once I'm there, and I missed it for a few years, and I never want to miss it again, and I'm really glad that this will get me there, and what a great tournament to win. It's an amazing golf course.
And how much did you spend thinking about yesterday on 18?
I mentioned it to Michael and to Annie afterwards. I said I knew riding in to the clubhouse to sign my card, I said I knew that on 18 was going to cost me, and I hoped it did in a way, because if it didn't, it meant I just played a very average round today. So I hoped I worked my way into contention despite. I was about as upset after the round yesterday as I can ever remember being in a golf tournament. There's just no excuse for those kind of brain farts as a professional. To myself, but also to Michael, who's working his butt off to go out there and do that could potentially affect the outcome of a tournament is just, and I've done it a number of times on this stretch in the last 4 weeks of just, so Annie told me last night, she said, you have to take 5 seconds now, and she never comments on my golf, and she said, you need to take 5 seconds if you miss a putt and you're going to tap it in before you hit your tap in. And so I try to think about that today. There's a couple times where I was just going to rake it, and I was like, no, I got to take 5 seconds. And I'm just glad it didn't end up affecting it at all, to be honest. Just made it a little more exciting at the end.
All right, let's go Ron and then Shane.
Sorry, just to follow up to answer your other question. I was inside, and I can't stand watching golf when you're trying to dodge made putts, because these guys are so good. Every single putt looks like it's going in, and it was just way more nerve-wracking than actually playing. And I thought if I dodged Patrick's on 17, I thought he would birdie 18 or at least get a good look, which he did. I went to the range after he hit his second shot thinking I'd come right back in, that he would make that putt. And I don't know what ended up happening. I guess it just missed on the right side maybe. And then fortunate to not have more than one other person in the playoff. I mean, it felt like a Sunday on the PGA Tour. I mean, it's just you compete, and the first 3 rounds set up today, and today's all about trying to close it out. And I want to say, I thought if I made that putt on 18, I just thought it was tricky enough. The wind was shifting. I knew somebody was at 14. I think it was Eric at one point, and then it went to Shane. And I just thought, maybe with these closing holes, I thought it was maybe for a playoff. When I finished, I heard Shane was left on 14 and then chipped it in the water, and thought, okay, I really like having posted just because it's tricky, but there's still some wedge opportunities for those guys coming in. And when Shane, Harold, and Patrick all parred 15 is when I really thought that, I was still in it. Because if they made a birdie there, they just needed one on the last three, and there was going to be essentially a wedge, a 9-iron, and a 9-iron. So you'd think out of three guys that somebody might make a birdie on those three holes, which Patrick did. But I dodged some bullets on 15, and no one made birdies, and I think that was the difference maker there. That hole's just tricked people out. I had told my management team that I was going to play here pre-Masters week. I was fully intended from months ago to play 4 in a row. I really wish that it wasn't the week right after the Masters, because I would play this every single year, and I after obviously just having this week happen, I certainly plan on it going forward. I've missed a few years, but I played the first 3. I played 19 and 20, and then this year. So I think it's a really good fit. I just really enjoy playing this golf course. If you hit good shots, you get birdie looks. If you don't hit good shots, you got to play cool punch shots through trees, and it stands the test of time. It just seems to always do that. And I was actually very surprised by the amount of support that everyone had this week, and I felt a lot of it personally. These crowds were just fantastic for it being a non-major championship. I mean, Wednesday it was 4 deep on the first hole. I'm like, these guys, my amateur partners, are freaking out. We just don't want anyone to get hurt, and it just carried on the rest of the week.
Much more coming from the RBC Heritage a little bit later on, but next, a much more serious topic affecting many of us here in the Lowcountry: hospice care. Stay with us.